goal maker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio in Comcast Cable Channel 23, Danbury, Connecticut, on this 11/15/12, middle of November. 1 week away from turkey, gobble, gobble, Thanksgiving. I'll be looking forward to that, which means we will not be here next week.
We won't be here for a little while.
Let's do a quick programming note. We'll say hi to Bob while we're doing it. How's it going, Bob?
Good, you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Big changes happening down here at the studio. So obviously holiday next week, so we will not be here. Then the following 2 weeks there is major construction taking place, reworking of things, which will be fun for everybody to deal with when we get back.
We'll come back and figure out
so we
how
won't be live during those 2 weeks. I do hope to bring you a couple of tape special musical shows. You hear the music of Fatty Roots here quite often in the background of the show. And I've got a couple music videos I've shot for them. And as a matter of fact, I'm shooting another one this weekend. Anybody up in the Bridgeport area, Acoustic Cafe, Fatty Roots playing a nice big show. Actually, proceeds are going to Hurricane Sandy relief.
That's very nice of him.
So if you're up in that area, a bunch of bands playing. He's one of them, Fatty Roots, the band. So we're going to put together a nice little show and play some of their videos here for while we're away, which will be good. And then we'll be back, early mid-December-ish.
Yeah.
Who knows what will be happening in the sports world by then? You think the Knicks will have lost a game by then, Bob?
I hope not.
They could just be on this incredible run here.
It's going to be the first time, what's the longest streak?
Well, best start so far. We'll get into the NBA later. Let's not get sidetracked. We'll also say hi to Mr. Mike Toohey, one-man show again in the control room. Of course, his show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 10 and Wednesdays at 1. The special post-election show last week was snowed out. But they did tape it yesterday. Did that air last night? Did we miss it, or is it next week?
I don't know. When's it going to air, Mike? Aired yesterday.
It did air yesterday. So if you were interested in that, maybe you caught it. Anyways, Bob, what do you got, Whalers? Quick, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Another suspension, I hear.
Another suspension for Phil Esposito. They had a little tirade against Phil.
Just coming off a 3-game suspension, he gets another 3?
Yeah, this against Williamsport, against Chris Ferriero, the former coach of the Whalers
Oh, that's right. They got bad blood,
yeah,
and they're the defending champs. And although the Whalers did beat them on opening night,
yep.
And did they win this game or no?
They won both games, yeah, against them.
Nice.
But there was kind of a big meltdown in between the second and third period, and then between right at the end of the game. So they were actually almost went to blows. So
shocking.
A lot of shouting.
Whalers hockey involving fights and suspensions.
And they'll be on next week on my show, so you
Spotlight
can watch it on
Spotlight Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, Wednesdays at 12, and you got the altercation on tape?
Yeah, I have it on tape.
All right, tune into that.
And the following week we'll have Veterans Day on for.
Okay, happy Veterans Day to everybody. There was a lot of good Veterans Day stuff going on. We'll get to some of that as well. College basketball really did a bunch of stuff.
But this week the Whalers are home against Thousand Island, and then next Wednesday they're home against Cape Cod. So. All
right, all right. Let's get right into the NFL, Bob. What's going on with your G-Men?
My G-Men had a little meltdown this week.
The November swoon. You know, last week after they lost one tough, close game to Pittsburgh,
yeah, everybody
said they're in a swoon. I said, well, you know, wait a second. It's only one loss.
Yeah.
But then they back it up. They go to Cincinnati
and decide to have another one.
And the Bungles put it on them.
Oh,
big time.
I watched. The game was not good to watch.
Eli Manning now has gone 4 games.
Yes.
Believe it or not, this is shocking. Ever since the bomb to Cruz in the final minute to beat the Redskins 4 weeks ago, he has not thrown a touchdown since. Of course, Victor Cruz dropped a wide open touchdown bomb, which was in garbage time. It didn't affect the game. But he did drop what would have been a touchdown to break that streak. Longest streak in Eli's career. And of course, we got the jet crash way out west.
You mean the team that was going to be, we're going to the playoffs.
Not sniffing the playoffs, we're going to the playoffs. They head to Seattle and
as the Post put up today, fucking clowns, which is what a bunch of...
And then they bashed Tebow.
Oh, the heck.
I mean, unnamed sources, multiple ones, saying he's terrible. We don't consider him a quarterback. Why are they talking about Tebow? He doesn't play.
No, it's Sanchez, the one who's doing nothing.
Sanchez is the one who's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, dirty Mark Sanchez there. Yeah. You know, he's the one who's leading this team to a horrible record, 3-6.
Yeah.
And they head to St. Louis. Watch out there. The Rams playing pretty tough.
It'd be a 3-7 or more by the time actually we come back.
And all these guys, right, defensive players as well, badmouth Tebow.
Right.
Reminder to all those defensive players, last year when you played against Tebow and the Broncos, he beat you.
Yes.
And now he's on the team. He doesn't even play. They're not using him, and you're trying to blame him for stuff? Unbelievable. The Jets. And now, of course, Sexy Rexy's mad.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we've already spent enough time on the Jets.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about a team that's 3-6? And why are we talking about a quarterback who doesn't even play? I mean, ESPN has gone back to Tebow TV.
Yeah.
All this week, it's Tebow, Tebow, Tebow. I'm like, this guy does not even play.
I know. So he should be going to some place.
Why are people talking about him?
I don't know.
We're not talking about him.
Okay. What are we going to next?
How about those Patriots?
Yeah, you didn't quite make your...
I didn't make it to the game. That's a whole nother story. I won't get into that nonsense. But I was on the edge of my seat. I would have rather been on the edge of my seat in Foxborough than on my couch watching this game as the Bills.
It was a very good game.
Got it going, that offense. Freddie Jackson and C.J. Spiller really gave the Patriots some problems, and Fitzpatrick did as well. It was a good game. It's typical high-scoring Bills-Patriots game. Happens every time they play. No surprise. Everybody wants to talk about the Patriots defense. I say, once again, Josh McDaniels strikes. When you have the ball and a chance to end the game, why are you getting cute, Bob?
Right.
Did you watch the end of this game?
I did.
They've got the 3-point lead, right?
Yep.
7-8 minutes, they get the ball back. They put together a beautiful drive.
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes off the clock. They're inside 3 minutes. They're down first and goal from the 2-yard line. What does he do? Quick snap. Quick snap run right into the line.
Yeah, and that didn't do
Why
it.
are you going quick snap when you're trying to end the game, run clock, get a touchdown? You just take your time there and you run a regular play, a running play.
That was
he goes quick snap.
Yeah.
And then Ridley, who was fatigued, it seemed like to me, he gets a false start on the next play to stop the clock. So now they go from a situation where they could have run 2-3 times to try to get in the end zone,
Right.
would have forced the Bills to burn their timeouts, and/or got it inside the 2-minute warning, and ultimately they would have gotten themselves in the end zone and put themselves up by 10 points.
Right.
Instead, they go quick snap, false start, pass, 2 horrible plays. They don't even get inside the 2-minute, and they kick a field goal, and it's a 6-point game, and here come the Bills right down the field, putting a scare, and the Patriots had a chance to win the game, but McCourty comes up with the interception in the end zone. The Patriots and their defense, who is always under fire, everybody talks about how many yards they give up. They are plus 16 on the turnover side of the ball there, Bob.
Yep.
They're making big plays. They forced actually 2 turnovers on that final drive. They didn't recover the fumble that they forced earlier in the drive.
Right.
And then they come up with the interception in the end zone. So I want to give credit to the team who constantly is having the offense not end the game.
Yeah.
When was the last time the Patriots took the victory formation in a close game, Bob?
I don't know. When?
All these times they've got the ball. All they need is a first down. In this case, a touchdown ices it. They're first and goal from the 2, Bob.
Yeah.
End the game with your offense, and don't put it back on your defense so everybody can criticize the defense. It's ridiculous. And Aqib Talib gets to make his debut this week against Andrew Luck and the Colts, who are all the rage right now. 4 straight wins, got themselves in prime position. 6-3 record, tied with Pittsburgh for that wild card spot, so they get the 1 and 2 wild card as it is right now. Let's talk about actually Pittsburgh and the quarterbacks that went down
we got
this
a lot
week,
of,
Bob.
lot of problems this weekend.
Alex Smith, San Francisco. The Niners were fit to be tied by St. Louis in a crazy game. I mean, unbelievable. St. Louis had this game won a couple of times. They kicked a 53-yard game-winning field goal, and they had a delay of game in overtime.
Yeah.
And the guy missed a 59-yarder. San Francisco, of course, missed a 40-something-yard kick that would have won it in overtime. The refs really gave St. Louis.
Should we go back to the refs that we had
they ran off a minute and 12 seconds in this game when no one was playing.
Yeah.
And they didn't put the time back on the clock.
No. Bring those referees
and they
from the
made
beginning
some
of the season
really
back.
tough penalty calls against St. Louis. Jay Cutler and the Bears, who play in San Francisco this week on Monday night, I believe that is. Jay Cutler got hurt in his Sunday night affair against the Texans in that tough, physical, rainy game up there in Chicago. So Cutler's out. Smith is questionable. He might actually come back, although he was concussed as well. The Texans, good win for them up there in Chicago. Michael Vick.
Yeah, who let the dogs out?
The Cowboys did.
Yeah.
And I think this was a cumulative, how do you say that? Cumulative effect, because the hit wasn't that bad.
No, but he's, concussion bound now?
Concussed, he's out. They go to the rookie QB. He sparked him a little bit. They could have beat the Cowboys. It was kick returns and bobbled, tipped interception return, really turned this game around. So Vick is out. The Andy Reid era is all but over.
Yes.
Done. And Michael Vick, I mean, I guess we might see him again this year.
I don't know.
If this kid, the rookie, can play well, he looked kind of good. He looked like a Philly type of fan player.
Yeah.
You know, rough-looking kid, wild hair. I bet you the fans could get behind a player like that.
But the NFC East, the whole
And we've
NFC
seen the
East
Eagles before with backup quarterbacks make big runs. Don't put that past them and Andy Reid. And then the other big injury was Monday night. Mr. Gallagher text messaged me during this game. He was all giddy. KC was up 10-0.
And then the bottom fell out.
But they did knock Big Ben out of this game. They ended up losing in overtime. Big Ben was he concussed as well?
I think so.
But then it was revealed later that the major injury was a bruised, dislocated rib that threatened to puncture his aorta. Anytime you mention the word aorta in an injury,
that does not sound
not pretty. So the Steelers, who everybody's on right now, is a team that's going to give Baltimore a run for their money. And now the NFL and their fans are bumming because Roethlisberger is out for a little while now. Who knows how long? And we got the big matchup Sunday night, Baltimore at Pittsburgh, but no Roethlisberger will be there for that one. And then they play again in 3 weeks in Baltimore. Hopefully he'll be back for that. We'll see. Baltimore again got another win. Everybody's saying that they're no good, but they are 7-2. They pounded the Raiders. What else is new? Oakland cannot play on the East Coast, Bob.
No, they have a hard.
If you're a gambling man,
yeah,
you pick against the Raiders when they head east because it never turns out good for them. Other stuff happening in the NFL this weekend. In the NFC, the Falcons were the only undefeated. No longer. They had, first and goal from the 2-yard line to win this game in New Orleans, and they couldn't get it in the end zone. 4 shots at it.
Yeah.
Oh, they fall to 8-1, still sitting pretty in their division. No problems there for that. But they are no longer undefeated, and all that respect talk by Tony Gonzalez can go out the window because they're going to have to bounce back.
What do we got on tonight?
Tonight's game is an interesting game, actually, because in the AFC, I'll get to the AFC stuff in a second. Let me finish the NFC. It's Dolphins and Bills is the game tonight. I'll get to the importance of that in a second. Saints, as I mentioned, they're marching back into the picture. They're still on the outside looking in. The Bucs, who we talked about, are going to keep talking about. They got another win. They're playing very well. They're in prime position. The Vikings, who everybody was saying Vikes turning back into the yikes, not so much. Big win against the Lions. Adrian Peterson, AP all day. Wow, he had a big game as they took it to the Lions, who looked like a team that was getting back in the mix. Now they get knocked back down a peg. So they are out of the mix there. And the Seahawks, of course, with their win over the Jets, they keep themselves relevant in a big way as far as the standings goes with them. So that's good for them, 6-4 as well. Cowboys, you know, with that win over the Eagles, if they can beat the Browns this weekend, remember now, some strange scheduling quirk had the Cowboys playing a lot of games on the road in the first half of the year. They got 4 out of the next 5 games at home.
Yeah.
And the Browns are this week. I'm not ready to say that they're back in the mix. I actually heard people saying they're a sleeper Super Bowl pick now. Watch out for the Cowboys. I'm like, come on.
I don't
They've
think
been so bad. They've found so many ways to lose games this year. They beat up on an Eagles team that is terrible. You know, give me a break. Let's let them win a few games before we start really talking about it. But if they beat the Browns, they're only 1 game out of the NFC East with your Giants there. And your Giants have the bye, but they're going to come back for the, Sunday night affair against Green Bay Thanksgiving
weekend. That should be
weekend.
a very good one, especially with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I don't like your Giants' chances in that game.
Anything can happen.
But the Packers do have a lot of injuries. So, you know, they're not a sure bet right now this year either. They do have a lot of injuries. All right, back to the AFC. Tonight's game is important because it's really the AFC least right now.
Yeah.
You got the Ravens up top. You got the Texans up top. You got the Patriots up top. You got Denver up top, continuing to win. And then wild card situation, we mentioned the Colts and the Steelers. And below them, I mean, who is it? The Bengals are back in the mix.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, who were thoroughly dismantled this weekend, which was, I mean, they got killed.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad game.
That was horrible. You know, they're still in the mix, and the Chargers are in the mix at 4-5.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
4-5, it goes from 6-3 to 4-5.
Yeah.
So these games are important, Dolphins-Bills, tonight.
Yeah.
So that's it. Let's mention, of course, Thanksgiving, because we won't be here.
Right.
Patriots-Jets is the primetime affair.
Well, Patriots should have no problem winning this.
I like my chances in that game. And it's Houston at Detroit. That's a big game. And Washington, rivalry renewed at Dallas, the 4 o'clocker. And big games this weekend. We mentioned Miami, Buffalo. Cincinnati at KC is a big game because Cincinnati's in the mix. Tampa Bay wants to keep things going. They're at Carolina. Green Bay at Detroit. The Packers slowly but surely continue to win even through these injuries. They want to keep Detroit down. The Saints, they're back in the mix, Bob.
Yeah, they are.
And they're at Oakland. Yeah. They don't usually do well out west, so we'll see what happens there. San Diego at Denver. We saw what happened a few weeks ago. This is what Denver's got Denver on this roll.
Yeah.
Well, they were down 24-0 at halftime, and they came back and won that game in San Diego. San Diego looking to return the favor. Baltimore at Pitt and Chicago at San Fran. College football, real quick. Bama gets busted.
Oh, that was a very
Johnny football and those Aggies, Texas A&M. How bummed is the Big 12 right now? The Aggies should be playing there. Instead, they're playing in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, the Aggies, unbelievable. Johnny football, this kid out of nowhere, stuns Bama in Bama, Bob. Busts up the whole thing.
It was very quiet.
So Alabama, who, you know, really needed a last-minute touchdown the week before against LSU, you thought maybe the chink in the armor was shown, and the Aggies come in and get their signature SEC moment. Aggies 8-2, by the way. Good start to their SEC career. I prefer that they would be in the Big 12 playing big games against like Oklahoma and Texas instead of against Alabama, but it works out for turning things upside for the college football world. Kansas State is number 1.
Right.
Oregon and Notre Dame right behind them. Wake Forest at Notre Dame this weekend. Notre Dame, of course, beat BC. Stanford at Oregon. That should be a good game. That's probably their last real good test. And K-State is at Baylor. State, of course, beat TCU this weekend. And we will mention that UConn
How did UConn do?
did go ahead and beat Pitt this past weekend. And I will mention the Big East always gets, the bad rap as being a down team. Pitt did take Notre Dame to triple overtime the week before, and UConn just beat them. So what does that say about everything else? And also, I don't have all the games and all the records, but I do know that the Big East has fared pretty well against the ACC, and for some reason the ACC has still been getting love. You look at Clemson, you look at Florida State, teams like that getting love from the pollsters. Maybe it's perception, not reality. That's college football in a nutshell.
Do you want to touch on college basketball?
I do. Let's mention a real quick mention, because we didn't get to this at all yet. We should have mentioned this when we were talking about the Whalers. The NHL lockout
It's still going.
is still going. They have canceled 20 games of the season, and they also canceled
the All-Star game.
Winter Classic, which was supposed to take place at the Big House. So this isn't looking good. They offered the players a 50-50 split, and the players have thus far turned that down. I mean, they offered that like 3 weeks ago. I thought this whole thing was going to end then, and it's still going on, and they really are on the verge of no season.
I bet we don't see it. If it gets...
if it drags out another week or two, we're looking at a bad situation.
We may not see it till near Christmas or beginning of next year.
And how about real quick before we go all in on hoops, MLB.
Yes.
Your boy R.A. Dickey, Cy Young winner, first ever full-time knuckleballer to win it. And he was first Met to get 20 wins in quite some time, right?
Since 1985, Dwight Gooden.
And Dwight Gooden, of course, won the Cy Young as well for the Mets way back then. So hats off to him. A.J. Price got it for the American League. Big trade in Major League Baseball.
Now
Marlins fire sale.
That was they went out and spent all that money to get Reyes.
They bring in a high-profile coach, Ozzie Guillen. He's gone. They bring in all these players. First, they trade Hanley Ramirez, their star player.
Right.
He didn't make it this season. Then they bring in all these other players to play with him.
Yep.
And Jose Reyes, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, all these guys, they're all gone now to Toronto.
And the players they got, I never heard of.
Yeah, I never heard of any of them. This was a horrible trade. The MLB should be ashamed of himself for allowing things like this to happen. College basketball, hoops, UConn, Kevin Olly's career underway in earnest. Great. I mean, I cannot emphasize the word great enough. This really was a great win for UConn, a great win for Kevin Olly. Awesome. They went out to Germany and they played at a military base out there, showing some love on Veterans Weekend. And they got the trophy. And Michigan State was ranked 13th, I think, coming into the season. And they got out early, 16-point lead. Michigan State chipped away. Actually took a brief lead in the second half, and you thought, it was going to be a good showing by UConn, but they weren't going to have enough to hold on. But the second half was a 2-point, 4-point game, really the whole half. And they continued to make play after play after play, and they win it. In impressive fashion. Great win for them. Congratulations to Kevin Olly. They are 2-0 because they then came home and beat Vermont back home. All right, NBA. Knicks remain undefeated. The only undefeated in the NBA.
Yes.
5-0, and they're at San Antonio tonight, who are 7-1, who beat LA last night. They might be catching the Spurs on a good night after the Spurs played in a tough game in LA last night. What is going on in LA, Bob?
I think we need to have.
Holy cow!
They're just having that. They get rid of their coach.
Mike Brown.
Fired after 5 games.
5 games, and he's fired.
Yeah.
And it looks like here comes Phil Jackson back into La La Land, but they faked the Phil.
Oh, yeah.
LA fakers pulled a fake job on Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
That's your headline. You can't figure this stuff out. Mike No D'Antoni. Yeah. Knick fans know him well.
Yes.
He is reunited with Steve Nash, who's still out, as a matter of fact, with his injury, and they bring in him. And what's the deal with D'Antoni? He had knee replacement surgery. He can't even make the games yet.
Yeah.
Crazy. Celtics have won 3 straight. They're playing in Brooklyn tonight. And Brooklyn has also won 3 straight, so that'll be a good game. I'm looking forward to going home and checking that out. Some other surprises: Milwaukee 5-2, and the Bulls without Derrick Rose 5-3. The Pacers, everybody's hot team from last year, 3-6. Not good. We're going to talk a lot about former Huskies in the NBA this season. We mentioned the Bulls, Rip City, Richard Hamilton, getting a lot of playing time there for Chicago while D. Rose is out. Some other former Huskies, Kemba Walker, has delivered 2 game winners, including the last game they played. And Charlotte is 4-3. Bob, this team lost 23 straight games to end the season last year. He delivered a game winner on opening night of the season. Now they've won 3 straight. He did it again. So Charlotte and Kemba, and he's being helped by former Husky big shot Ben Gordon, who got out of Detroit, thankfully, and he's down there with Charlotte, so they're playing well. Jeff Adrian is also on that team, but he is not active. We'll keep our eye on that. So good for them. Mentioning the Pistons, Charlie Villanueva, they stink, 1-8. They do have Andre Drummond as well there, who's averaging about 6 points a game early in the season, but they're not playing well. Also in the Eastern Conference, if you're looking for former Huskies, Okafor and A.J. Price are leading the way for the 0-7 Washington Wizards.
What about Mr. Rudy Gay?
Rudy Gay! Break up those Grizzlies. 6-1, I believe, is the record right now, and they have beat the Heat, and they have beat the Thunder in back-to-back games. It's good to be Gay. We've said it before. We'll say it again. Grizzlies looking very good, and also another team out west looking good. Caron Butler. The Butler is back in action for the clip joint. They beat those Fakers. They're 6-2. Jeremy Lamb and Hasheem Thabit are playing for the struggling Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's about that for all those former Huskies. We're going to keep track of them as the season goes on. We are running out of time, I believe, right?
Yep. Let's see. The one thing I mentioned real quick, WestCon starts their basketball season this weekend, the girls and the guys.
Okay, we'll keep
Actually, the girls are playing tonight.
We shall keep our eye on that.
And
that's about it. One other player I guess we could mention, even though he is not to be named. His first initial is R, his second is A, and he plays for some team down South Beach.
Who's that?
The former Celtic, Mr. Ray Allen. Yeah. You broke our heart, Ray.
So we'll see. We'll see us all when we come back.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy belated Veterans Day to everybody. We will see you in a few weeks. Enjoy the Fatty Roots music specials. We'll also have some Dick Lexus music in that show as well. And take care, everybody. We'll see you in a few weeks.